Okay, now you can see, and I've given you some time to go in and put in your eye. Now, here's a trick. If you think that you like it better like this, then do that. It's all forgiving, you know. So I think I like it better like this, so this is how I'm going to proceed. If I did it like this, it would give it more of a monolid and an Asian look, and I want to do a Caucasian look today. So I'm going to do more of an open in, open eye style. So I just want to press that in. Okay, now, so that's the first thing you do when you're doing an eye. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and I call it my dental tool, but you can get these in the sculpting aisle, you know, at your local hobby shop. And I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to attach the top of the eye to my base. And I'm just going to press that in. Now, I'm going to tell you, your surroundings and even the air conditioner in your home can affect the way things are going when you're sculpting. I would highly recommend that regardless of what you're sculpting with, if you keep it around 73 degrees, 74 degrees in the room you're in, even if you have to put a little heater in there in the summertime to keep it just a couple of degrees warmer, do that, because your life as a sculptor will improve. Because it's difficult to get, you know, especially like primo. Now once you warm up Pro Sculpt with your body heat, it's going to stay that way as long as you're working with it. So it's really not a problem in 72 degrees even. But I just have found some of the other clays, like Primo here, they want to tear and it's harder to work with when you have cooler, when your thermostat is cooler. Okay, having said that, I am pressing the top of the lid. Now I'm going to go back with my thumb and work with that. Okay, and when I feel like I have it all smooth and nice and neat, which it's getting there, you can see that. Then you're going to want to go to the bottom lid. Now because my thermostat, and it's also, we're having the last frost of our year here where we're at, so I'm going to, and I don't normally like to do this, but I feel forced to, is I'm not even going to hardly add a drop of this. I just want to, that's all I'm going to do. It's barely, but what it's going to do, it's going to help me smooth all that out. And although this particular oil is formulated with Pro Sculpt, I use it on any clay. It's good for any clay. Plus, when I'm out, and I'm, you know, pressed with doing a commission or whatever, I will also use baby oil. So now I have that smooth enough that I want to move forward. So that's my top lid that's going to come into play. Now I want to work on this bottom half, and I'm going to use this metal tool. And then work it in with my thumb. So this is the second thing you do when you're doing an eye. It was so cool in the house here when I was working on the lips. I almost felt like I was struggling, which that's a lot right there. So I'm going to take it and move it over to the side a little bit and just reduce the amount I put in this area, because I don't like to put a lot of conditioner in my clay while I'm working with it. You put too much, and when you bake it, it will crack like an egg. I've only had that happen once, and I vowed I would never do it again. Okay, so essentially what you've got here, Gesundheit. That's okay. That's Cece in the background, everybody. She's got a little cold. Essentially, I have the foundation of my eye. Now it's time to shape it and work with it. Okay, so the next step is to reduce the size of the eye, and we're going to use, yes, the X-Acto knife. Yay, everybody. So I'm going to come into the inner part of my eye here, and I'm going to start shaving this down quite a bit. And I'm going to, excuse me, take this and put it on here. So, because I want to keep that, oh, look, fun fur. How fabulous. Because I want to try to keep this clay as clean as possible. Okay, then I'm going to come down in here, and I'm going to shave a little more. And use your X-Acto to lift it out. That's the best way, I think. Now, if it pleases you, and if you're wanting to do the, take my advice about when you do something with one part of the body, do it with the other, you can actually use a longer, wider base and make the base of your foundation as wide as your head's going to be, and work on your eyes, and then you have two eyes by the time you're finished. I've been doing this so long, and I have this down so much that when I do one eye, I just do the other, and it's all good. But I would recommend that for you, to get a wider base and put both eyes on here and do the same exact thing. Just go back and forth for each eye that you do until you're used to sculpting the eyes. And then when you get what you're doing down, so I'm going to come in here and get all that out of there. Press this in. And when I work on eyes, I use the X-Acto knife a little more often than any other body part, because the eyes, if you think about your face, what's behind your eyes and your nose and your mouth is pretty much hollow. And so the sculpting with the X-Acto knife helps me keep a more realistic appearance. Now I'm going to come up in here and I'm going to trim out that excess clay between the upper lid and the eyeball, because you want to give it as natural as an appearance as possible. Plus the eyelid is going to come across the top of your iris, and by getting this all cleaned out here, you will have that ability to do that at that point. Now, you don't want her to have Crohn's disease, so you don't want your eyeball to extend beyond your your eyelids. And I say Crohn's. They once thought I had Crohn's. I have thyroid disease, Hashimoto's, which gets pretty bad sometimes, but that's okay. It's what I'm dealt. I deal with it. But that's why I bring up Crohn's. It's really a joke. But for any of you out there who have it, I will pray for you and bless you. Ask God to take that from you. Okay, now I still want to trim down my eye more because I just feel like, and eyeballs are fairly round. I mean, what you need to do is go on Google Images and put in sculpting the eye, and not only are you going to find videos attached to images, you're going to find images of the anatomy of eyeballs, and you need to study that. You need to study all the anatomy of the face and the body, and you know, to understand how to sculpt it. Now I'm just going in here and I'm continuing to shave all this down. Now keep in mind, this is just one way to do an eye. There are other ways, and I'll show you other ways to do the eyes in time. I'm working on a website. Kat Lees and I are partners in a lot of things we do and for the future. And we will have a lot of tutorials on how to do the different types of painting the faces and sculpting faces and that sort of thing. And so this is just one way. Now what I want to do is, I'm getting pretty close to what I want it to be. I'm going to come up into the bottom lid and I'm going to clean this out. Down here, I'm going to take that chunk out. Okay, now I'm getting where I want it to be, and I'm going to take this lid here and I'm going to trim that off a little bit, because we're going to go in and we'll add more clay under this eye to build that up, just like we did the mouth. Okay, but now what I want to do is I want to, I'm going to take a little bit more off of the front of the eye. And what you're trying to do is just round out that eye and smooth it out with your X-Acto knife, and that also reduces the amount of sculpting time, because X-Acto knives are great for that. Now I'm going to come in with my X-Acto and I'm going to calm a lot of this down inside the eye. Try and get a lot of that debris out. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is press down around my eye, and I'm going to look at it at this point and see how I feel. So we made a ball, we pressed it, we put in a formation of the eye, we took the X-Acto knife and we trimmed the eye down, we hollowed out in between both the lids, and I'm at a point now to where I'm pressing this together and I'm looking at my eye to see, okay, what's next. So I think the thing to do is we're going to trim the eye down close to the eye duct. Because I know that that's too much. And also add a little hole here for the area of the eye duct. Okay. Now, I'm just touching this really and getting out these kind of lines that the X-Acto knife put into the eye, but I'm not pressing this down to where it's flattening it out in any manner. Okay, I'm just smoothing that out by just lightly pressing on it. Okay. You have to be careful when you're dealing with the ball and all that. I may have, because of the temperature in this room, I may have to add a little more